Your frum girls, your Lubavitcher girls, your Hasidic girls, right? Born, bred, and brainwashed, right? That's the lush. And happy about it. That's the full. Born, bred, and brainwashed, happy about it. But a lot of people make fun of the Torah. They make fun of the Torah. It's old-fashioned, it's arcane, it doesn't make sense, it's not written well, whatever the tiniest are. When you hear the Rebbe talk about the Torah, you should listen to the Rebbe talk about the Torah. You know one thing, he takes it seriously, yeah? Maybe someone doesn't like the way it's written, maybe think it should have been written different, maybe some of the rules are wrong, you know? But when the Rebbe talks about the Torah, when you hear the Rebbe talk about the Torah, you hear the Eibishter giving the Torah. But I don't want to say something lofty to you. I want to say something very down to earth, very practical to you. Every day babies are born. You know that every single day babies are born. And those babies grow up and they become little kids. And they grow up in a home, hopefully, that's safe and respectable and decent. And not everybody has that, by the way. And when they're very little, whatever their parents tell them, this is what's true. Then they go to school, they hear things from their teachers, maybe they hear things from their friends. Sometimes what they hear from their teachers, hear from their friends, may be different from what they heard from their parents. And the children start to realize that it's complicated, you know? But for many years, and for most of the years of your lives, you never thought about the idea that you have to figure out for yourself what life is. Someone else decided for you. Your mother decided, your father decided. The Rebbe decided, you know? But as you go into adolescence, you become a teenager. And now you're not teenagers, I mean, you're almost adults at this point. You're not 14, you're 18, 19. Today's my daughter's 19th birthday. That's her excuse for not being in school. Yeah, happy birthday, Baruch Hashem. Shunted oil. So you're big. And you're starting to realize that the world is not a monolith. You know, the world is not a monolith. You know what the word monolith means? We're not all the same. We don't all agree on everything. We don't all think the same. We don't all act the same. We don't all know the same. I remember when I was a kid in Cheder, I learned about Avraham Avinu. I had no concept of a guy. When I learned about Avraham Avinu, I had no concept that someone who's not Jewish. We're all Avraham Avinu's children. And Hashem loved him, and Hashem spoke to him, and Hashem guided him, and Hashem created him, and then Avraham Avinu, son named Yitzchak. When you're very little, you learn the Torah. Because you're pure and because you're innocent, you take it in very, very deeply, as we should. But then you grow up and you realize, you know, there's also people who don't believe in Avraham Avinu, who don't like Avraham Avinu, or they like Avraham Avinu, they don't like Moshe Rabbeinu, like Moshe Rabbeinu, they don't like Rabbeinu, you know, David HaMelech, like David HaMelech, they don't like Rabbi Akiva, they don't like the Rambam. It's very dynamic. And at some point in your life, you realize that you have to really decide what you believe. You have to really decide what you believe. You know, there's a Jewish singer. I don't know if you guys listen to him, but he's really very good. His name is A.B. Rattenberg. You know who A.B. Rattenberg is? He does, what do they call it? What is the name of his records? Journeys. He's a very sensitive man. He's a deep man. And he has a song, Father, please tell me what do we believe? Father, please tell me what do we believe? It's a simple song. And the father answers his son. The son, Father, what do we believe? We believe in the Eibishter, we believe in Har Sinai, we believe in Moshe Rabbeinu, we believe in Teresh Papeh, we believe in Mashiach. When you're young, you have to figure this out. Not that you have doubts necessarily. Of course, your parents told you something, you believe your parents, you have no reason to think that your parents would lie to you. But because of the world, because there's so much noise, and because you begin to realize more and more that not everybody is like you, you figure out that you actually have to decide this for yourself. You know, you have to make this your own. You have to make this your own. And to be very honest, it's not a comfortable place to be. It's much more comfortable to know for sure what you believe. To not know what you believe, or to know what you believe, but to really still question it, it's a very uncomfortable place. And that's one of the challenges of being young. I tell this to you all the time. You are stronger than you'll ever be in your life. You're faster than you'll ever be in your life. You're more motivated than you'll ever be in your life. You're smarter than you'll ever be in your life. Really. All of your senses work. I can't read. When I was your age, I read by moonlight. I can't see things. Everything is slowed down. My brain doesn't work. I'm tired often. I'm not clear. When you're young, everything works. You have to use your youth because it's not forever. The one thing you don't have is the experience of life. The one thing you don't have is you didn't try it out yet. You didn't test it. So you can process all this stuff. You can think about all these ideas. But the idea of, if I may use these words, buying in, this is who I am, I don't care about anybody else or any other thing, is a very serious and deep part of growing up. Becoming a Chassidish Mädel, a Chassidish Weibel, a Chassidish Mame, a Chassidish girl, a Chassidish wife, a Chassidish mother, a Chassidish Rebbetzin. That process, just like becoming a Chassidish boy, and a Chassidish husband, and a Chassidish father, and a Chassidish Rov, is that the Torah and the mitzvahs and the Chassidus, the way we live, becomes our emes, and ultimately you want that it should be pashtistic, simple, not complicated, So I just want to say something about the Torah. What the Chumash and the Shulchan Aruch, the Tayag Mitzvahs HaTorah, simple. In every generation, and I think now more than before because of communication and because of academia and because of all kinds of other things, people challenge the Torah. The Torah is wrong here, the Torah is wrong here, the Torah is wrong here, the Torah is wrong here. I don't agree with God on this mitzvah, he made a mistake about that. It's not anything new. But what happens is all those people who fight against the Torah, they create a whole new religion, a whole new way of life. They make a lot of noise, they take up a lot of space, and then they go away, they disappear. And someone else comes along, right, they disagrees with the Torah. But in someplace else, What the other guy didn't like, this guy likes. But there's something else I don't like, If you know how the Torah is written, some people say the Torah is too kind. You know who said the Torah is too kind? Hitler, Mashme. He hated Jews because Jews were kind, and he didn't believe in kindness. He was a Sedemite. He believed in toughness. Some people say the Torah is too mean, too critical, too judging. You know who says that? I don't want to tell you who says that. A lot of people say that. But there's always been people who disagreed with the Torah. Here's the end of the story. The end of the story is, if you look at history, and all the peoples who went away from the Torah because they didn't like this or they didn't like this, and how it ended, something emerges that is very important to understand. A human being cannot write the Torah. A person cannot write the Torah. The proof of this is that the Torah is still here and the Torah is still useful. But the explanation of this is, the way you understand it, is because the Torah has opinions about everything. The Torah talks about everything. The Torah even talks about war, about killing, organized killing. The Torah talks about everything. And every single thing the Torah says, one person's going to say, he's very smart. Another person is going to say, this is evil, this is cruel, this is mean, this is wrong, or whatever. But when you add it all up, what the Torah is saying is this: I made the world. I made you. I made all of mankind. I made I made everything. I'm telling you, this is the only way it works. You can't go too far here. You can't go too far here. You have to be in the middle. And the only way to know where that middle is to listen to Hashem. Now the Chumash seems like, I read once. You know who Eichmann was? Yeah. You heard of Eichmann? What was his first name? Adolf Eichmann? Eichmann was responsible for the death of millions of Jews. Millions of Jews. Millions of Jews. And you know what his qualification was? That before the Holocaust, he studied Judaism. He understood Jewish people. He knew Tanakh. He knew Yidden. He was the expert on killing Jews. Yemach Shmei v'Zachrei. Eichmann was captured in Argentina. Now the Argentinian government is starting to reveal how many Nazis they harbored. It's just unbelievable. They stole him out of Argentina, they brought him to Israel, they put him on trial, and they killed him. They hung him. The only time Israel ever executed him, Israel doesn't have a law, doesn't have capital punishment, was Eichmann. For 2 years they interviewed him, for a very long time. And I read a book, a whole book, on Eichmann's pre-trial discussions. And the interviewer asked him, does he believe in God? Does he believe in God? And Eichmann said, yeah, I believe in God, but I don't believe in the God of the Bible. Because the God of the Bible is a fairy tale. It's a nice story. I believe in the God of the cosmos.
Of the what?
Of the universe, of the cosmos. Whatever. Einstein's God, Aristotle's God, the God of smart people. The Chumash is a story for little kids. I don't believe in the Chumash. I believe in the cosmic God. Here's the point, Kechidalach. If Adolf Eichmann, his name was Adolf or Albert? Adolf Eichmann believed in the fairy tale God of the Bible, he couldn't kill millions of people. But the God of his imagination, who he thought was bigger and smarter and truer than the fairy tale God of the Bible, it was okay to kill people. He had an explanation. He had a whole explanation for why killing was acceptable. Mamish. Because when you don't believe in the God of the Bible, you're your own God. And when you're your own God, you can say, you can make anything kosher, anything treif, and if you're smart enough, you can explain it and prove it and logicalize it and create a science around it, as the Nazis did. Only the Eibush could write the Torah. And only the Torah speaks to emes. And every day someone comes to you and says, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. I'm going to give you an example. And it's an example which is okay to say, it's not that offensive, okay? There's a lot of people today who say that eating meat and killing animals is evil, is cruel. It's a very strong movement. There's vegetarianism, they're called vegans. They change their name every month and understand. There's frummer, and very frum, I mean, the question becomes, how do you eat lettuce? Lettuce is also living. How do you drink water? There's bugs in the water. The only thing you can eat without killing anything is salt. But you can't live on salt, from the last time I checked. Why are they wrong? Why should you kill an animal? You kill an animal, you're hurting the animal. It's not nice, it's mean. Now, there are aspects of their taina that is correct. Killing animals and eating meat is allowed al pi Torah, but killing animals in a cruel way is not allowed al pi Torah. It's called tzar balechayim. Now, if they would come to kaporas and instead of screaming that they're killing our friends, that's what they say, they're killing our friends, the chickens are their friends, they would say, kill the chickens humanely. I'm not saying you shouldn't shech chickens, but do it in a way which is not hurtful to the chickens. Don't make the chickens realize that they're going to go to die an hour before you kill them because it's frightening to them, things like this. They would be right. And I don't know if we would listen or not, but they would be right. But they come with this black and white things. Killing chickens is killing their friends and neighbors. It's silly, it's simplistic. Now, why are they wrong? Why is it wrong to say that you don't want to eat meat because killing animals is cruel? There's only one answer, people. Because the Eibishter allowed it in the Torah. And one of those little details that are good to know, the reason it's good to know because it gives you pause. When the Eibishter created Adam Rishon, he did not allow him to eat meat. You know that? When Hashem created Adam Rishon, al pi halacha, killing an animal was the same thing as killing a person. The Rambam says that Adam Rishon was not given Sheva mitzvahs. He was given Sheish mitzvahs to stava Adam Rishon. He did not have Evim and Achai. Evim and Achai was given to Noach. You know why? Because by Adam Rishon, killing an animal was the same thing as killing a person. It was part of Leit Tirtzach. Oh, Noach, Hashem said, after the Mabel, you can eat meat. And when he told me you can eat meat, he told me, but you're not allowed to be cruel to the animal that you're killing. Now, why? Why did Abraham change his mind? There's so many opinions and Fashim. It doesn't matter why. What matters is Hashem knows best. Hashem said you can eat meat of animals. Eat meat of a human being, it's the worst Aveda. Not allowed. Eat meat of an animal, it's acceptable. That's how the Eibishter made the world. If you look at the world where the Eibishter made it, on balance, everybody's eating everybody. That's how it is. Nobody lives on eating other living things. Who lives on salt? Every living thing eats other living things. That's the world we created. Or to use a philosophical way to put it, every creation is both a mashpia and a makal. All of us. We take and we give. And save kol soif, every creation gives his life. In one way or another. The Torah says you're allowed to kill an animal, eat its meat, but don't be cruel to the animal. The criteria, girls, is that Hashem knows where the truth is. Hashem knows this is enough and this is too much. Because the truth is not this or this, it's here. It's what we call in our culture Tiferes, the middle. In the world we live today, there are people in Americans, and they're called liberals, and they mean well. And a lot of them are Jews. A lot of the leadership of these movements are Jews. Why? Because Jews are kind by nature. And they're trying to find ways of being kinder and kinder and kinder and kinder. And the biggest enemy of their kindness is the Bible, because the Bible is not kind enough. So they come out against the Torah because the Torah is not nice enough. They're going to be nicer than the Torah. They understand kindness better. What is the answer to them? The answer to them is, let's see what happens in 100 years from today. Let's see how long this revolution holds, and somebody's going to push back and revolt against the revolution because it's not realistic, it's unsustainable, or to say it in real terms, it's not true. It's a sheker. Truth is Torah. Not on some mystical level, some Iman level, on a very down-to-earth level. The way that Eibishter made the world, that in order to live, you have to keep the Torah. A goy has to keep Shabbat mitzvahs nenech. A yid has to keep 630 mitzvahs. Because Hashem knows what He made and how He made it, and He even knows why He made it. And if you want to live a sustainable life, listen to Him. He's smart. The Eibishter talks in words. The Chumash is written so cryptically. The Gemara has to explain what the Chumash means because you don't understand it. It's not written in order, and everything is written full of contradictions. So if you look at it as an outsider, you say, this doesn't make any sense. It makes a lot of sense. If you take that book and don't see it as a book, but see it as a manual for life, V'midaf 11. It's the greatest book ever written. It is the greatest book ever written. It's written by the Eibishter himself. And this is I'm giving you a Hachonah to Matan Torah speech, which you should give to kids in Mitvachsha, in, what do they call it? Release time, I'm giving you a very, very simple insight. I'm not giving you a Chassidish insight, a very practical insight. But I think it needs to be said, and I think you need to hear it. So I'm telling it to you. That on a simple level, following the Torah is the best way to live. Following that is the best way to live. Now, one of the things that you're going to learn in the Torah, and this is sort of an example which is negei l'mais. I don't know how many of you are worried about killing animals and eating meat. Maybe some of you do. I'm not going to say not, maybe. Somebody once asked the Rebbe about vegetarianism, and he brought him a raya from Sfarad, that there were Gedali Yisrael, who spoke against eating meat, and the Rebbe said it's for Yechidei Skulu. It's for special people, but the average person should kill animals and eat meat, because that's the Eibishter set up the world. To be cruel to animals is not permitted. But in as much as it can be done in a way that's not painful for the animals, if we're allowed to eat meat, we should eat meat. And if you'll ask the biologists, ask the evolutionists, they'll explain to you why we eat meat. We don't have the right stomachs for grass. Our stomachs are simple. If we had the stomachs of cows or goats, we could eat grass. They have 4 stomachs, and they chew their food over and over again. We need to eat food which is easy to digest, because our digestive system is not complicated. The Eibishter made us. And therefore, the Torah, the Eibishter said it's okay to kill animals and eat meat. But let me give you a different example. The Eibishter set up the world that people should get married. And this is not a Jewish idea, this is a human idea. Animals don't get married. Animals do not get married. Animals mate. Animals have babies, but animals don't get married. Now, most animals don't even have one mate. But a lot of birds, it's fascinating. Birds are what's the word? Are loyal. A male and a female bird will only mate with each other. What's so amazing about birds is they get together for the mating season. They build a nest together. To raise birds takes two parents. If it took only one parent, the man would fly off. The amount of energy that a young bird, birds have very high metabolic rates. People say an expression in English, eating like a bird. And it's supposed to mean eating very little. There's nothing further from the truth. Birds eat more food per pound than any other animal. It takes an enormous amount of energy to fly, an enormous amount of energy. They're constantly eating. So a baby bird, an unfledged bird, takes two parents to keep them alive. They come together, they build a nest, they lay eggs, they incubate the eggs, they feed the birds, and when the birds fledge, the birds get wings that they can fly, the man and woman go away. They don't stay together. They come back a year later, they find each other and build another nest. It's a fascinating thing. But they don't have a concept of marriage where you stay together as partners, they become one. Only human beings are such a musik. And the Eibush created it that way. The Chumash, it says, if you learn the Chumash with the Gemara, Adam, Arish, and Chava were created physically attached, one body, at the spine. Chava was not created from a rib of Adam. In the Gemara, there's two opinions. One opinion is Chava was created from the tail of Adam Rishon. Then Adam Rishon had vertebrae, extra vertebrae, like a monkey does. He broke those off and he made Chava. That's why we don't have tails. But the opinion which Rashi brings, which the opinion which Kabbalah brings, the opinion which is more widely held, is that Adam and Chava were created complete, but they were attached at the spine, back to back. Du partufim nivru, it says in Kabbalah. The operation did not create Chava, it simply separated Chava from Adam. Because human beings were created Zohar and Keva. Animals were created separate, male animals, female animals, they come together for a purpose. The Eibush made a man and a woman to be together. The Eibush Mashaf, human beings are supposed to come to join with a person from the opposite gender and build a life. And it's very hard to do. It's hard. Life is hard. And one of the most basic messages of the Torah is don't avoid a challenging life. Don't take easy street. Take the challenge of life and live it. I'm not saying that life is hard. I'm saying life is challenging. In other words, you could stay single and never get married and never have children, and you'll sleep every day 12 hours, and you'll always be rested, you'll look gorgeous, you'll have a nice job, and you'll have great friends, and you get together in a restaurant, and you'll have good social times. You're about to talk about those people who are harried because they have children, and the shaitel isn't pretty, and she's overweight, and all the other things, and you will literally avoid living. You will not live. Torah says, get married. Get married is hard. Stay married is harder. You're marrying a man. You're marrying someone who understands. You're marrying someone who's the opposite of you. Why? Because the Eibishter understands how a human being can become what a human being is meant to be. And here's the real truth of the matter. The message of the Torah is, Adam l'almal yivaled. Man was created to work hard. And not working hard is against the Torah. And I don't only mean working hard at davening and learning. I mean working hard at making money. A man came to the Rebbe and he told the Rebbe, I have so much money, I'm sick of it. It was one of those interesting stories. He got a big business. He sold his business. He got millions of dollars. The person he sold it to ran the business into the ground and sold it back to him on 10 cents on the dollar. So we had all that money from buying, selling the business, and the business. And he actually says to the Rebbe, when is enough? He was disgusted with his wealth. And the Rebbe said, it's never enough. The Rebbe didn't say eat your dollar bills. You give tzedakah, you can do good things, but the Rebbe said to people, you stop working, you stop living. A person's supposed to work, not just because you need money. You have to work because this defines you. And the most fundamental area of work is marriage, is a family. It's being married to a man. That's hard enough, trust me, it's hard enough. I'm not married to a man, I'm married to a woman. I know what she goes through, yeah? It's not easy, but it's life. You know how I know this? Because the Torah says it. And Hashem is smarter than us. Hashem is smarter than us. Hashem knows best. And I'm not speaking here Kabbalah, I'm Pashut speaking human experience. If you grow up and you're frum, you have to be far frum to be radically frum. You have to hate everybody that is frum as you are. It's not part of the Torah either. If you follow the Torah, you will be a human being with the Eibishter wants. And yes, you'll have happiness and you'll have meaning and you'll have purpose. But the beginning of it is to understand that the Torah actually makes the most sense. Every part of it. Even the part that today in the newspaper they're screaming how evil the Torah is. How could the Torah say this? It's mean. Because Abish is smart. Than you. Smarter than you. And he knows that this is how you have to speak. What about that person? What about his suffering? The Torah says, the Torah speaks to that person also. But the Torah says, what I am telling you is the truth. It's the truth because this is the only way a human being can successfully get through this life. And if you don't follow the Torah, people say the Torah says by punishment. You get punished over here, punished over there. If you don't follow the Torah, you punish yourself worse than any punishment the Torah could possibly hand out. Because you're not living. And I think this is a really useful Shavuos message. Pashat, living the way the Torah says, Hashem is smarter than us. He made the world. He created our chip. He created our hard drive and our software. He wrote a book and said, this is how you use this machine to maximum efficiency. How a human being must actualize his humanity. And you have to listen to all the mitzvahs, not just to the ones you like. Listen to all the mitzvahs. Don't say, this one I like, this one I agree with, this one I don't like. All the mitzvahs. Why? Because he knows everything. Yeah, but I don't like these. So, some mitzvahs you don't have to like. Maybe you'll get older, you'll get smarter, you'll understand why he did it. But now you have to listen to him. And what's funny is that someone lives across the street, and the mitzvah you don't like, he or she loves, and the mitzvah that you think is wonderful, they can't stand. Because every human being is not God. And we have our biases. And because of our biases, each one of us has our own personal leaning. These mitzvahs make tzedakah make sense. Chesed makes sense. But punishing people, and what are the worst words in America? Judging people. Torah judges people. Torah doesn't say to hate people. Torah doesn't say that when a judge judges a person, you should not like him. You can cry, but you have to judge up Torah. Torah is the truth. The truth means that in every area it tells you exactly where the center is. Including things as evil as war itself. War is the single worst invention of mankind. There's nothing worse in the world than killing, which is organized and sanctioned by governments who are supposed to be responsible for the preservation of people. The Abishah speaks about war. Why would war such a bad thing? Why would Hashem even mention it? Because Hashem knows what he created. And he says, you have to fight a war. This is how you fight it. This is the correct, this is the incorrect way. And you look at certain parts and they say, I can't believe the Abishah said that. He said it. You know why he said it? Because it had to be said. And you don't have to necessarily understand everything, but you have to know that he's smarter than us. And when you go out into the street, or you go on the internet, which you shouldn't really do, and all of these people are telling you 101 ways why the Eibishter is wrong, or the Torah is wrong, don't get nervous. They wear nice ties, and they wear nice suits, and they're very well presentable, they make good speeches. But they're not God. God is smarter than them. Does anybody want to comment on that little speech, which took a lot longer than I thought it would? Huh?